Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is September 26, 2024, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching crude oil take a dive, but first look at today's major economic events. So we start out today at 2:30 South African time from the United States. We have a GDP final number, that's a gross domestic product, and then 3:20 South African time. Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking. Now, looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbol, the Australian dollar sells off, and as we shift over to the indices, the Dow Jones sells off, but the Nasdaq holding ground and gaining. Now, looking at commodities, gold unchanged, and as we shift over to the stocks, NVIDIA continues to perk higher and make that comeback after that massive sell-off. And lastly, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now, I want to make a couple of highlights here. Number one, it's at the top of the range on a multi-time frame. That's very important. Now, you want to keep an eye on this, and you want to keep an eye on the British pound because they've been trading together versus the US dollar, and they may have stalled together at the same time. But remember, the GBP is a little bit stronger versus the US dollar vis-a-vis the euro, so keep that in mind. Now, looking at the GBP, it's holding its ground above this area. Now, if it goes back to its highs, that may pull the euro higher, okay? But keep an eye on this because it may just be a perk up ahead, and then we're going to have a sell-off. So, like I said, keep an eye on it. There's nothing else I could say more than that. Now, the Australian dollar took a little bit of a push higher versus the US dollar. Not big enough to make it a major play, but it's a second day in a row that it's pushing higher, so that's really very important. Now, jumping into commodities, take a look at crude oil. It would just nosedive this morning, okay, as this sold off between the last couple of days from $71 down to $67. It's $4 in a day. And remember, we're looking at percentages. That's almost 10%. I mean, if you think about it, it's 7-8%. So that's a big retracement there. Now, it does have support at $66.50. So keep that in mind, as that might be a place that we'll jump off of it. Now, looking at crude oil, looking at gold, it's just hovering near its highs, not trading lower. And this is where it becomes very difficult to pick it because it's not really pushing higher, but it's not selling off, and it's just churning sideways. And then maybe it will push higher, and you want to be there. So keep this on the radar as well, as this still has room to go. Now, yesterday, the Dow Jones did sell off for a good portion of the day, about 200 points, but made a comeback in after-hours trading. And looking at the Nasdaq, still holding itself above 20,000. It rallied over 400 points ever since it broke that 20K, and it's hovering closer to its all-time record highs. Now, let's take a look at the individual stocks. So we spoke about NVIDIA, and let's take a look at it. NVIDIA had a nice gap up and go, and it's the second time. Now, remember, 129 is its all-time record high, so we're not that far away from it. And if you guys remember, if it'll show you, it doesn't show us in this particular. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. There we go. If we zoom out, we'll see that we tested our lows again at $99 a share, and we made back $121. We're only about $10 off of our all-time record highs. So, big comeback for NVIDIA, and kind of shows you where the market is holding NVIDIA, okay, in terms of what they anticipate potential growth could possibly be. Now, jumping into the other majors, Cisco had a nice push earlier this week. It's holding on to its gains. That pushes the Nasdaq higher. Okay, some of this other stock, Tesla, still showing some strength there. Let's still keep an eye on it for a potential breakout. Okay, potential, I said. Okay, keep that in mind. And lastly, taking a look at Bitcoin, just stalling here at resistance, not pushing higher, but you want to keep it on the radar because when it does have a move, it's pretty good. So with that said, some of the market is kind of directionless right now and just wants to consolidate and just play it out. Now we're closing in at the end of September, beginning of October. We'll get to our big earning month, so stay tuned as that's still on developing. So this is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.